What's going on, everybody? How's everyone feeling? And as always, I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're enjoying your holiday season. If you're in a position where you're not enjoying the holiday season, may you find swift amelioration towards your wellness. Yeah, I know it's not easy for everybody. Interesting time. Closing out the year 2024 and entering a new year. New prospects, new opportunities, new adventures. You know, this stream today, it's going to be a little different. Been watching some stuff take place on the internet, talking about different topics that that interest me. And one of them came up recently that's about the origins of hip hop and the differences that people have regarding where it started, how it started, who started it, who didn't start it. And then I'm going to try to link this all up with learn about DeFi. Seriously, learn about DeFi. First and foremost, I want to say what's going on to Jay Everything. How are you? Gratitude, sir. Gratitude. Hope all is well with Jay Everything. Salute to Jay Everything. Salute to Jason Smith. You know what I mean? What's happening? Checks my pulse in the building, says, what's the word on them crypto streets? Wonder, bro, you tell me. You know, you tell me, Yeah, we close. Next, one day close to the next all-time highs for the coins we like, the coins we talk about. Rising tide lifts all boats. I don't even know what Bitcoin's at right now. You know what I mean? What's up, Blind Royalty? Good to see Blind Royalty in the building. Hope all is well with Blind Royalty. So yeah, this thing is Fat Joe versus the FBA, right? No, I'm not gonna get into a tirade. It's not even about that. I'm not trying to get into a tirade on who's right, who's wrong, weirdness. There's enough of that going on online. Enough people going at each other now, and I see a lot more pushback from the FBAs going at Joe. FBA, Foundational Black American, it's sort of like this principle, this ideology, this principle about the origins of indigenous Black Americans who've lived in this country for centuries. We're talking about things, a time even predating the transatlantic slave trade from Africa to the States, or the quote unquote new America, and the thought is, the belief is, and it seems like it's now documented now that hip hop as a genre, as an art form, was created by FBAs in the beginning, right? 40, 50, 55, 60 years ago, some can date it, even further. And so we have an entertainer named Fat Joe who, you know, expressed his thoughts recently within the last like year or so, too, and year and a half. And not only him, Busta Rhymes did as well, claiming that, well, Fat Joe claimed that, it's 50-50. Latinos were also there in the beginning and have just as much as say and presence and claim to the beginnings of hip hop. And I'm speaking about it because I love hip hop. But I'm also understanding something else with all this that I think is important to address. I think that there's a few things that are amiss right here. Like I could understand entertainment, I could understand scandal, I could understand whatever distractions, but I'm putting this out here to just express some things that just seem like it don't make sense. It don't make sense. Blind Royalty says, Wanda, I hope you and my fellow Hexagons are privy to the looming crypto safe harbor rule. Nice to thwart, just to warn. Oh, I hear you. You got to expound on that. I'm not familiar with the safe harbor rule. What's that about? And maybe I am. I just didn't understand it to be that. Or maybe I'm not. And I need to be enlightened, on what that is, what that means. But this gentleman, Fat Joe expressed how, there's a radical group of people who seem like they're black racists that are trying to basically say that, people are not of who created hip hop, who are not, black Americans and this and that, have no right or no say to solidify or in other words, their contributions to say that they were there in the beginning is null and void because there's no real indication of that from like the very beginning, early days. And so, but the premise is a little bit off because it's not about where I think Joe made an error is by saying that there's a group of black radical, like information is power, like you misinformation is powerful too, because this is how you can dupe people and create disastrous results and harmful results. You don't say certain things without having certain information to back it up, to substantiate your position, man. Like you're too old to be speaking reckless without having the information. Like I just said it right there, and I'm not even FBA in the true definition of what that is. I don't represent that. I understand what that is, though. I'm not going to say it's just a group. It's a band of individuals who are just like pro-black, nationalist, racist, radical group, and this is what they do, and this is what. No, it's not that. We're talking about a description of the origins of a people that represents tens of millions of people. It said upwards of 40 million people who live in this country right now. Like this is bigger than just a group. That this is where I find like some people like you're too old to be, putting our feet in our mouths like this, man. And I say that just in general because he represents my generation. I grew up like that's what that is. Like, you dude is too old to be doing this, man. But I guess when you have money, you could say whatever you want, when you want, and with reckless abandon and not care about any kind of regard. And that's why people even looking at him and just clowning him. And he can have a plausible sort of like reason as to why he believes what he believes, but have the information. Have the factual data. Deal with facts and not opinions and not feelings, man. To say that this thing was 50-50 too, like hip hop started 50% black, 50% Latino, and based on what? How do you quantify that? Where's your data? Where your facts? Present that, and then we could foster some real discussion and opportunity for everybody to learn and say, wow. But it's not that, man. Like, in other words, the whole thing for me about all this, because it's neither yay or nay, because to me, I'm first generation immigrant, so I have no dog in this fight. But I'm looking at how the residual effects can indirectly impact everybody, directly or indirectly impact everybody, right? And I'm looking at it like from a certain perspective where, yo, it's akin to saying, yo, man, don't come to my block. Don't come to this block. Don't come to these blocks. Don't come to this neighborhood. Right? You're not welcome, because we built something here. This is our group, our operation going on right here. This is our organization. This is our clique. This is what we got going. Meanwhile, you don't own anything on the block. You don't even own the light post. You don't own any door to any business or any residence on the block. You don't own the doorknob. You barely own the wheel on the tire of a car, especially if you're carrying a car note, and nobody cares about your car because that gets devalued the minute you drive it off a lot. You don't own anything, right? We talk about, this is why I say learn about DeFi, not this baseless. Sometimes like the rhetoric, because see, the FBAs are trying to really create substantial recognition so that the powers that be can recognize them and offer reparations. I have no dog in that fight. You want reparations? Yo, do what you can to get what's due to you, man. I respect that 100%. I respect it 100%. You know, and this art form that they created, they invent it, and even invents it. I could even say, listen, find a way to own it. If it's too late, I don't know what to say, but this is where ownership is so pivotal. It's always important. Where's the ownership? You could claim a lot of things, but you have to own something to actually say, okay, yes, I'm a stakeholder in this based on the fact that I own this piece of this asset right here makes money for me while I sleep. That's why I say learn about DeFi. Everybody, they get into this ego, right? They get into this matches where they want to personally, fight one another and then shame and degrade. And then after a while, it just becomes a roast fest. Meanwhile, certain powers that be continue to become enriched, continue to remain enriched. And what's the point? What's the point in all that? So many people, they direct themselves into being distracted by certain conversations. And I'm not saying this conversation shouldn't take place, but sometimes we have to think higher, think greater. What is this going to inspire you to do? You're going to say, okay, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, they created hip hop. This is what it's saying right here. Okay, they created hip hop. Okay. And now hip hop is global. It's international. You have a wide group of everybody involved, with every ethnicity that you can think of, right? Involved with this phenomenon that started from Black Americans. Salute. Hooray. I'm glad, Dr. Maury, I see you. I'm glad. But where lies certain opportunity for people to own what they created? How are we, how in a sense where, excuse me, how are we learning, on a universal level, starting from the beginning, starting from this group of people? 40 million people represent a lineage that built this country to where it is. This is the argument. This is what that group, that side is saying. This is what it is. And they want to be recognized. And Joe is saying something else because he's from New York, where he can easily hurl, when you grow up in environments where there's multicultural, it's mixed areas, mixed cultures, where you growing up with Blacks and Hispanics and everybody calling each other the N-word freely like it's nothing, right? Other people from other places will look at that and say, oh, what are you doing? What is that? It's cringe. And I get it. Because me as a grown man, decades later, from a child is different, but decades later, I don't use that word in my vernacular every day. I just don't, because there's a thing called maturity that takes place. This man got on a podcast, and every other word is n. You're like, yo, dude, you in your 50s, bruh. Where's the evolution? And then because I get it, terms of endearment and this and that, and this, cool. But at some point, we evolve too. We evolve. I'm saying, I'm described as somebody, for example, depending on what I say and what I deliver and the message I speak on. Because I'm immigrant, FBAs would describe immigrants who basically coon against their philosophies. They would describe them as tethers. I don't coon though, right? I respect what they're doing, right? So I would be described as a tether. I would be described as somebody who's just caping for the status quo, caping for an ideology, supporting an ideology that's going against their seeking reparations for hundreds of years of oppression, right? Hundreds of years of subjugation, right? But I'm not for that. I'm for them getting their just due. And when you get your just due, let's rise above. Just like other cultures have gotten their just due, okay, when you get your just due, let's rise above. Don't just, in other words, and it's both halves, because Joe is accountable for what he said, and FBAs are accountable for how they're dealing with this messaging that Joe's giving out. And how do we rise above for the sake of just evolution and everybody learning together what this is all about? It's about really ownership. It's about honing down on something that you created, that you want to at least have own and have rights to, right? Rights to, that other people already have controlled, have taken the control. They've taken the reins. They've taken the reins. Right? We see it. If you want to talk about entertainment industry, what it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And it's a fight. In other words, the hurdles that are in front of everyone who are trying to see some kind of success, some kind of, some type of resolve. Again, everything that's in front is just like with this, is just like DeFi. You're trying to see an opportunity for yourself to uproot yourself out of some type of dire situation that you're in financially, because all this translates to finance too. You're using DeFi in a way to just have a stranglehold, have your own self sense of self-identity and control with what you have with these tools, so that you can also call the shots and make decisions that are good for you in a powerful way by controlling your own money. This is also relative in that sense too, but these people are losing the messaging here in a sense. And that's not good, because I've also seen people just in the chat here who represent FBA, right? And I don't discriminate, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm universal with it, man. Universal love is just, you bring something different, then I have to offer you something different too. And until then, it's all respect across the board. Across the board. But this is why I talk about it, because you don't know who's listening to you at sometimes. And sometimes maybe somebody will find us and say, hey, what is DeFi? Oh, DeFi is dealing with self-custody. It's dealing with, not your keys, not your, coins, et cetera, et cetera. You learn about it. You grow that way. Not just get stuck in some kind of gossip soapbox about something that's really not going to help you really enrich your quality of life tomorrow, unless you think it will. And if it does, more power to you. But there's bickering, backfighting, going back and forth, and people just like, oh, cancel him, cancel that, he's out of here, don't do this, don't do that. Yeah, but what? I don't make excuses for ignorance. And I'm not saying dude needs to get canceled. It's a thing about education is needed. Some form of education is needed. Those of us that have been dealing with DeFi, we understand that this thing is not a simple situation. This is not something, it's not a easy concept to even absorb and process in our minds. It takes study, it takes work, it takes research, it takes understanding. They can't take it out. They can't cancel the blockchain. So what did they have to do? Join it. They had to not only join the situation, but conform, not only conform, but want to control the majority. What does BlackRock represent? What does Grayscale represent? What are these governmental bodies across the world? What have they been doing for years? On the low for years. Companies like Fidelity Digital Assets, mining since 2017, documented, had mines in the US, mining BTC. All the while heard all kinds of things, countries banning BTC, all this back and forth, this and that, and this. They want to ban it, this and that. They can't anymore. It's done. It's a done situation. We have the ETFs now. We have this thing taking place here where things are expanding. And this has to have a trickle-down effect with other areas and aspects of our lives. Come on now. Come on now. Some of my viewers and supporters, I'm telling you, like, we represent everything out here, where every aspect of life, like everything across the spectrum. And so certain issues I have to address because it was a hot topic on the internet. And, you know, hot is in quotes, not hot for many. It's just, you know, whatever. Feel like is important to talk about, though, because, man, you're missing the mark, sir. Like, Joe's missing the mark in a certain stance. And I don't think I think he's personally, he has a personal situation against a few people, and he's just applying broad sweeping strokes across the whole situation, which is not what you should be doing, because I think that's not going to help him in the long run. I don't think that's going to help him in the long run. And, you know, FBAs also, you have a right to feel however they feel, you know, as far as feeling disrespected, they have a right to that. They have a right to that. And at some point, when the smoke clears, how do you connect as far as share education, if you think it even matters, with people who are non-FBA to help educate them on the mission of what you're doing? And so people could have better understanding of what's taking place here and not feel, right? Not feel sort of like in the dark or whatever. If that even matters, if that's even important, because ultimately all this translates to social issues, economic issues, financial issues. It all trickles down to money. It all trickles down to your well-being, because what's the main thing on the ticket for FBAs? What's the main item that's been on the ticket for years? Reparations. They're getting their just due, just like other cultures have gotten. It's about bread too. That's a fundamental reason why people are organizing themselves to try to make things happen in such a way where they could, you know, possibly yield their desired their desired outcome. I don't know if this administration will yield to that and help them, but like, that's the thing. It's about creating a financial base. You know, look, I see somebody right here. Dreamy Green says, salute to the FBA Power family. We're over 43 million, Sean. It's on site with, I mean, listen, you entitled to your feeling. You said the B&B stuff is over. Hey, it's your opinion. Your opinion. There's been dissension for a very long time. We're not gonna pretend like there hasn't been. I see Finbear in the building. I see y'all in the building. We're not gonna pretend like there hasn't been dissension among all kinds of groups. There's dissension within these same groups. You don't think, you know, these Latino camps have problems with each other? You don't think, you know, blacks have problems with each other? You don't think, you know, people from the Caribbean have problems with each other? on some weird stuff too, like weird shade. Oh man, you light skin. I'm not rocking with you because you look strange because light skin. Oh, you dark skin. This and that. Look at your hair game is crazy. All kinds of stuff going on, man. So it's always been that way. It's always been that way. I don't know if it'll ever change. I don't know if it'll ever change. DJ Dougie says, "Bong bong. You should not loyal, bro. Got that 43 million." you know. But the issue is, it's like this, man. Rising above the ignorance across the board. Rising above it. Making things happen in a certain way where you watching certain things unfold in a way that's prosperous for your community and your loved ones, right? Creating a base, owning something, controlling something, controlling what you own. You don't own your block, you don't own your street, right? You have no type of presence among government. Your community leaders don't know you, right? No voice, right? No presence. What are you controlling? How are you respected? You engender disrespect. And then when you get on something like the incident, well, we having a discussion here, and then people just want to just hurl insults at each other. How do you grow from that? How do you grow from that? In other words, look at the bigger picture, because doing a thing where, in essence, where when I discovered this whole thing with the blockchain and everything, I'm looking at it like this. Wow. We can now find a situation where somebody doesn't have to tell us what to do with our money. We don't have to ask permission. We don't have to beg a centralized exchange if we know what we're doing, of when we can withdraw, right? When we could even have, if they keep your money just locked up somewhere or freeze your accounts. There was no turning back, because you can inherently understand the power within that. Now with this whole situation on a different scale, with this whole argument, FBA and versus Fat Joe, and this whole thing of the origins of hip hop. Who owns it though? Who owns it? Who owns it? Who owns it? Who owns it? I understand the creation. I understand the beginnings. I understand the building blocks. I understand building the foundation and everything, the art form and everything. And it's a minority that's calling the shots as far as the business level. A minority that's calling the shots on everything that was built, created, invented 50 plus years ago by people who don't own it. And that's crazy. And when can and how can that change? See, Busta Rhymes said something that was just like, come on, man. Busta Rhymes too. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, man. You can't say that there was no culture here. You can't say that there was no culture here. The man said there was no culture here. That the whole art form came from basically Jamaica in such a way, like, don't quote me. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm not FBA, and I can't even agree. I can't agree with that. Come on, that didn't even feel right in my soul. That didn't feel right. And you're a multi-millionaire, Joe, multi-millionaire. These people multi-millionaire. But this is something like, give credit to where it's due. It's bigger than what you've done because it was here before you. Whose shoulders are you standing on? You want to create an empire? You want to create something, but you had to do something that was someone else did it before you, or you doing something that was off the backs and shoulders and blood, sweat, and tears off of somebody else. Where's the reverence? You can contribute. I can contribute. But come on, man. Come on, man. I can't say, oh, nah, this thing had no culture. I remember growing up in school. An instructor told me, I was in high school, second year. Second year I was in freshman. Was it freshman? Whether it don't matter. I'll never forget this. We were studying. He was a history teacher. The teacher looked at us. We were global studies, blah blah blah. Had the map of the whole world on the chalkboard. That's when we had chalkboards back then. A green board with white big old chalk. He's looking at all the continents. He left Africa last. He looked at all the continents, right? North, South America, yeah, Antarctica, Canada, Europe, Eastern Europe, the whole Russia landscape, China, South Asia, you had India, this and that, went all around the whole situation, right? Australia, boom, 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 boom. Gets to Africa and says, you know why I can't speak on Africa and give you any lessons on Africa? And these textbooks right here that we have, we're not covering Africa this year. You know why? And maybe like this whole 4 years that you're in high school. He didn't wait for us to answer because we like rhetorical question, 13, 14 years old. And then he said, because Africa had no writing. It was considered the dark continent. It had no writing. Bruh. What I felt in my system just from him saying that, I'm like, yo, you racist piece of shit. You don't understand, people. You don't understand. And it was just, I don't care if it was intellectual racism. I don't care if it was personal racism, social racism. I don't give a F. Because the way he said it with such a disdain for the fact that, and then it was mostly black faces you talking to. And it's just outright just said it was considered dark content because there was no historical anything, no writing was done, nothing laid down, no documents of anything historical, of nothing. Bruh. The cradle of civilization. No writing. The emotions that welled up in my body and my bones and my soul just let me know, you know what? This is the level of this is bigger than ignorance, because you're in school. So you're thinking, okay, I'm getting educated. My parents, I had to negotiate my way at 14 years old just to get into the school. But my parents, immigrants, they didn't know. So I'm the go-between. At 14, trying to negotiate my way into getting like no BS. I couldn't, there was no other way. Get there. And I'm like, my parents are paying for this. I helped negotiate some situation where, tuition had to be, this and that. Come on, man, had to be affordable. My parents, we struggling out here, man. New York City, bro. We struggling out here. So it got to be affordable. It got to be. I had to come with that energy at 14 effing years old. And then so my parents are paying for me to be miseducated, to be bamboozled and hoodwinked under the guise of having some type of premier education because you're paying for it. And be told this nonsense, these lies, by an entity that I have no stake in. My parents had no stake in. Our community had no stake in. We had nothing. We had to just deal with whatever we were served. We had to eat whatever we was given to eat and take it. Nah, man, no. And it's the same thing in a sense with what we're doing now. Decades later, when you're talking about musical art form and this and that and the political disagreements and this and that and this, that and this, what do people own? What do we own? Where's the ownership? The quickest way you could make yourself heard is if you hit somebody in their pockets. I remember 1995 when I was reading Black Excellence Black Enterprise magazine. It was a magazine back then. Black Enterprise. Bang, 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 bang. 1995. It was saying like, FBAs spent $2 billion in commerce, $2 billion worth of this and that. That was 1995. That was 29 years ago, soon to be 30. Imagine now. Imagine the numbers now. But name the ownership of all these things you're spending, and it's not just, blacks. I'm talking about just the whole idea of folks just we try to go at each other, disrespect each other. Like he said that FBA is these broke people, these broke. Everything is about your status, your socioeconomic status or lack thereof. Got no money, this and that, got to get at you. But what do you really own? Like as far as like institution, what presence are you really creating for yourself that could be respected by others? A stronghold, a mainstay that could be respected for generations to come, where folks can say, oh, no, this is a powerhouse right here. Come on, man. And then music, forget it, man. One of the most corrupt genres of everything, something so spiritual that they defiled and right, denigrated. Something that the music just the emotions of the soul that you could put through sound and through art form and express yourself. Something so divine has been so defiled, where folks are reduced to now clowning each other, throwing mud and excrement at each other in their face, and to prove what? Who owns what? Dreamy Green, I get what you're saying. But and I get your passion, and I feel it and all that, and I understand what you're saying, but we're not here like this, like my channel right now. I see you new, because I've never seen you before, so I don't know if you knew. But my channel, I really talk about is what they call DeFi, decentralized finance, cryptocurrency related stuff, powerful stuff that I think people should really learn about, like really learn about. And I've even had, my viewers, my supporters who are FBA, who've been rocking with me for years. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't denigrate, I don't give disrespect unless it's given to me. You know what I mean? To give everybody fair situation. But like, we're not, you know what I mean? Like, there's multicultural over here, man. You know what I'm saying? But I respect. I would give respect until disrespect is given. You know what I mean? So that's all. That's really it. Because this thing right now, what we dealing with as far as DeFi crypto is very, very powerful, because we're at a precipice of something that's taking place. These pieces of this certain puzzle are coming together, and even is greater than what I can conceive. Because whether I like the president coming in or not, whether I like whatever's happening or not, certain things are going to unfold that's going to be out of my hands and out of my control. My thing is, in other words, when we have DeFi, something that's supposed to promote self-custody, where you control your money the best way you can with the tools that we have here, is to help strengthen our position. So that way, whatever happens, whether it's great things or super black swan, bad things, negative, whatever weird stuff, like how we were all locked down against our permission years, not too long ago, whatever happens, we still have a fight in the race. We still have a chance where we don't have to beg anybody for a handout. You know what I mean? We don't have to beg anybody for a handout. And I don't want to see people beg people for handouts when you don't have to. I don't want to see like your children have to work at 12 years old. Decades later, they can't leave their job because they find themselves still having to slave and work and help enrich their employers. Because that's what I've done. I don't want that for people coming behind me. I don't want that for the next generation. I don't want that. That's me personally. I don't want that for y'all. We're in a space right here. We're in a space right. Stormy weather. I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying. But again, like I was saying to Dreamy, just trying to help share a situation where to help show that, listen, how do you empower yourselves financially as well? Because you could have all the principles and opinions and thoughts and whatever feelings, but if your economic or your financial base isn't strong, then what's it all about? What's it all worth? Because if you could strengthen your financial base and someone else can do that and multiply that times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, then you have something to work with. Then you could be recognized. Then you can make some major moves. You can make some things happen. But until then, reducing things to just people calling people broke. Oh no, you broke, this and that. And come on, man. Because that's what we deal with in DeFi. That's what we deal with. We deal with people who want to scam folks in DeFi. We deal with scammers, legitimate, bona fide criminals, scamming people who are just trying to hold on to something that can yield potential game-changing, life-changing results and gains. And what do the scammers say? They call us broke plebs. They call us toxic and all that. You think we care? No. It don't matter. Because we understand what the underpinning of all that is about. They're trying to trick you out of an opportunity that you could experience something that may not ever come again. Because this is what blockchain provides. Blockchain makes the impossible possible, period. This is not my opinion, right? It's not my wish. It's not my thoughts, not my feeling. It's documented. Documented, bro. I like to when I speak about certain things here, yes, sometimes I offer my thoughts of experience that I've had, but when it's about like DeFi, it's just based on factual information. Factual. Correct the thumbnails. Cool said correct the thumbnails. Fat Joe is on you. And Tariq, she is 6'5". It's FBA all day. We created hip hop and we'll not let anyone try to steal our creation. Everyone is cosplaying as FBA. Yeah, I'm not correcting the thumbnail, sir. Like, nobody cares about the thumbnail. Shout out to you for coming through, but I don't care. Nobody cares about the thumbnail, man. It's not that serious to me. Tariq Nasheed is doesn't control the whole situation. He spearheaded the movement, but when this is the whole mistake that people try to say that, oh, it was him that Joe was going against, oh, him, as if he represents 43. Like that's just him. It's 43 million strong though, right? That's all I'm saying. 43 million strong. It could be anybody representing that origin, that family line, right? The lineage. The origin, the beginnings, anybody representing the source. Not just, come on. But I get what you're saying, but nah, I'm not changing the thumbnail, man. It's whatever, bro. It got your attention. So, in closing, folks, people we gotta just stay focused. Those of us that, we do the DeFi thing, we remain focused. We watch what's going on. Nobody's going to respect your money more than you. Period. Self-custody, important. Remain vigilant because the scammers are out, will always be out. Right? And those of us that deal with other social issues across different landscape and this and that and that and this, think higher, think bigger too. Because once you resolve, now it's the next step. Because life is still going to continuously unfold and throw hurdles and different things at you. But where are you going to be grounded? What's your footing going to look like? What position are you going to play in all this? You're going to be a contributor or you're going to be a detractor? You're going to contribute. You're going to add to the fold. You're going to take away. You're going to destroy. It's about building. In my book, sure, you could destroy things that have no purpose, but then after that, you got to build again. And maybe you have to destroy again, but you got to rebuild. And hopefully what you built again is stronger than what you built that preceded you. Just keep continuously become better at what you're doing. Because there are forces out here that we have to live with, we have to undergo, we have to deal with, right? That don't want us to succeed in any level. I don't care what you represent, what you about, anything on any level, period, man. From what we ingest, what we process, what we eat, what we take, what information we're exposed to. We're bombarded by marketing. Everybody wants your money. All kinds of stuff going on, man. Want you to remain in a state of destitution in mind, body, and spirit. Yeah. Want you to continuously live as a number in their data files. That's all we represent. Numbers and code. And in DeFi, we allow numbers and code to work for us. That's the difference that we got going on over here, man. So get familiar, folks. Get familiar. Get familiar with other things too that's taking place that could possibly, supplement or complement great things that you're doing. And with that, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Like, share, subscribe. You know what I mean? Like, share, subscribe. Be well. Enjoy the rest of this year, and may the new year be prosperous and bring nothing but blessings. Remain vigilant out here, though, man, because the snakes are out. Always will be out. Peace.